Hello and welcome to the Postmortem. I'm Carl.
And this is Snarboo.
Our special guest today is broadcasting from sunny England, British retro video game historian, Guru Larry.
Hello there. How's it going, everybody?
Today, we're going to be looking at Sega's Robocop-inspired ESWAT. But before that, let's look at the company itself.
Much like with our previous Star Fox review, Sega as a company doesn't really need much introduction with years of history covered in magazines and online, but just as a quick refresher. Founded in Hawaii in 1940 before moving to Japan in 1951, they worked as designers and exporters of amusement systems, slot machines, jukeboxes, and the like. Merging with a second amusement company called Rosen Enterprises in 1965, they adopted the now familiar Sega name.
Shortly thereafter, they began to develop physical arcade games like Periscope and Gunfighter. Into the early mid-70s, they entertained the video game arcade market, entering the home console market with the SG-1000 in 1983. But it wasn't until the 1988 release, 1989 in the US, of the Sega Mega Drive that they truly became competitive in the home console scene, gaining considerable market share, even up against tough competition from the Super Nintendo system, released in 1990 or 1991 in the US. Perhaps despite all of this, Sega is more famous for the series of bot shops relating to their follow-up systems, the Sega 32X, the Sega Saturn, and the ill-fated Dreamcast, leading to their withdrawal from console manufacturing. Today they continue to develop and publish games for all the current-gen systems.
But all that hadn't happened yet. This is the late 80s, and Sega was just about to begin arguably their most prolific time, with 1989's arcade release, Cyber Police ESWAT, and its partial sequel port in 1990 with ESWAT City Under Siege for the Sega Mega Drive.
In all versions of ESWAT, you play a fairly ordinary-looking beat cop, although it's possible he might be training for ESWAT itself, who goes through a series of Shinobi or Rolling Thunder-styled levels, arresting perps before being given access to the titular ESWAT suit. I have to read it like that, I apologize. Anyway, in terms
ESWAT.
of... Yeah. I love how they enunciate the E so much. In terms of plot, there really isn't a lot to this game. There's a little bit of backstory in the various manuals for the game, but it largely boils down to arresting criminals. The Genesis version kicks it up a notch and has you foiling a supercomputer intending global domination. But honestly, we're here for two reasons: to shoot bad dudes and be a badass robot.
And for the arcade version, the task is pretty simple control-wise. You have a button to jump, button to shoot, and a button to activate your collectible special weapons once you've obtained the E-SWAT suit. For the Genesis port of the game makes a few significant changes, giving you a boost jump system in robot form as well as a few selectable equipable weapons: standard shot, machine gun, rocket launcher, charge shot, and a single-use flame bomb.
Okay, guys, well, the arcade game is a simple game, so we'll discuss that one first.
No,
That's probably what the villain of this game sounds like. We just can't hear his voice because there's not enough card space.
Yeah, well, in the fat guy from the arcade game, probably.
The fire-breathing fat guy.
he does rolls.
You know, maybe we should mention that first, is like the fact that you're just this ordinary dumpy cop to begin with in both versions, and then suddenly you shoot a couple of really high-profile guys, and they're just like, hey, here you go, have a robot suit. They'll just dump it on you. Maybe it's because the robot suit looks dumpy too. That's what's amusing to me, is like you play a dumpy cop, you go into your robot suit and you look even dumpier. It's like, man.
Yeah, it feels like the robot should be chowing down on donuts or something. Like, it's just bad.
Donuts.
I just like the fact that the suit in the arcade version, it's not like there's some sort of super cyborg, superhuman suit, like something like sort of Robocop type thing he has, where he's all covered in armor. And what it is sort of he's wearing a jumpsuit underneath, and he's just covered over the parts that might get shot. And sort
Yeah,
of
like he's wearing track pants or something. Like you can see it.
Yeah. And he's got like a big face thing open, so anybody can shoot him in the face, and I mean, all the armor really is some sort of pneumatic arm, just to let him keep his machine gun up in one arm, really. I mean,
Yeah, because it
carry
comes off so easily. He just
Yeah.
gets tapped and it flies off.
Somebody's shooting spitballs at him, and he just loses armor, really. I mean, in all honesty, it is quite. When I used to play it as a kid, I used to find it amazing that you could actually see damage on your character. I mean, that
Yeah.
was quite innovative back then, wasn't it? That you couldn't see.
That was one of my favorite features of the actual arcade game. Was like it explodes off in chunks, and there's like 3 different states. Are there many games that had stuff like that? Because I know, I think the earliest might have been, what is it, Great Graduli or something? The Gladiator sword fighting game? Yeah. The one where you have 3 directions of attack.
Yeah, the one with the sort of the Ernest Evans arms.
Yeah, that exact one. That one has armor damage, I think. I don't know what beats that one out, but ESWAT's is much more visually cool.
So yeah, no, that was something that wasn't heard of in that game really back then. So that was quite an interesting visual thing, but it's quite good that they've made it sort of more realistic to what would really be like a cyber suit in the 80s, really, wouldn't it? I mean, it would be this super tough cyborg.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing I do like about the ESWAT design. It's like, yeah, I could see this robot sort of existing. Like, it's got all this, like, extra space to store just hydraulics and stuff.
And also, no armor at the back as well, so you always have to face his enemies.
I think there's some trick that you can use to stop taking damage if you're facing backwards. I've seen it in some long plays, I think.
Yeah, there's some weird issue with the hit detection in this game. I've noticed there are points where I've been hit, but I didn't take damage, like not even suit damage. You know, it doesn't come blowing off. But that is kind of one of the things or this is one of the few problems I have with the arcade game, is that as cool as the armor is, it doesn't really do anything. It just replaces your gun with like a machine gun that it fires off like 3 bullets every time you hit the trigger, so you just run out of ammo like within seconds.
Just gives you a bit of just lets you take a couple of extra hits, really, doesn't it? More than anything. I mean, you can't fly in the arcade version. You can't really do anything.
It makes you get hit easier because your hitbox goes up by about half.
You do get access to the bonus weapons too. Like those are pretty nice. The screen clearing, like cannons and stuff you get.
You just get 3 bullets in a row instead of 1, really. I mean, that's what it's the.
Well, yeah, like you got the what are this? There's several screen clearing weapons. There's like a bomb that covers the screen. There's like a fire thing or something.
Yeah,
there's a couple of different ones, right?
There's also the plasma cannon too itself, which you get as a regular weapon in the Genesis game.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a great weapon in the Genesis.
Charge up, I mean, that's probably like the best weapon in the game, really, that you need.
Yeah, it's the most useful one, except when you have to shoot around something. I don't particularly care for the arcade game, though. Like, it's okay. I like Shinobi more, and Shinobi was before it, so...
Yeah, Waste's just Shinobi with a gun, really.
Yeah, that's the best way to describe this game, is they took Shinobi and they're like, how can we make this game new and fresh again? And then, you know, they turn you into a cop.
Robocop.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it makes perfect sense. You go from a ninja to a Robocop.
But Spider-Man's not in it anymore.
That's true. Or Batman.
Yeah, well,
or
I mean...
Godzilla.
Or Godzilla. Or Devilman.
That's something that I think ESWAT Arcade lacks. There's not much charm to the actual game.
There's not much copyright infringement.
Well, you do fight a giant gorilla in the arcade game, to be fair,
there's the gorilla and the monster truck. Those are probably
the tiger. And a tiger. So, you know, protect the public trust and that by killing endangered animals, yeah.
Yeah, I did wonder about, like, the plot of this, where it's like, well, now that we've given you a suit, we're gonna send you off to, like, other guys in robot suits and tigers and trucks and, like, dictators? Like, oh. Is that what the SWAT do?
Why would anyone want to do that for their career?
You shouldn't have killed that fat guy that breathes fire. That was the fall, right there. That's what set him down the dark path, because he had to kill the other 2 dudes next afterwards.
Yeah. Lanky boomerang man was my brother, you bastard.
I love that about the intro, how you, like, all the bosses you shoot like 2 dozen times, and then you arrest them.
It's like one of those 80s loyalty card stamp things. They give you a little stamp for everyone. Instead of getting a free pizza at the end of it, you get a...
They give you a few Chuck E. Cheese tokens or something. Pizza parlor tokens.
I wonder what he get for his birthday then.
Just quickly, is there any decent music or sound in ESWAT Arcade? Because I don't remember any of it, to be honest.
It's actually kind of a nice sort of peppy, almost... I don't know how to describe it. I don't want to say urban exactly, but it's got this sort of like mid to late 80s like cop show sort of like beat music.
Yeah. The Amiga version's got a fantastic remix of that first song, title music.
I should have checked out the Amiga version, or at least...
You should have. You should have.
Yeah.
Well, the home port's actually really fantastic, because it's the first It was the first ever game that they've actually directly ripped the code of the arcade boards and put it onto home computers.
The first one?
Yes, the first one, because all the other ones were sort of interpretations of the arcade game. They were sort of recreated, but they ported the arcade game to the Atari ST, and then they ported everything else on the Atari ST port to all the other versions. So, like the Amiga version is a port of the Atari ST, the Amstrad version is a port of the Atari ST. They just sort of lowered the graphic quality and things like that. But
Okay.
yeah,
Well,
so it's quite like I said, it's quite clever that it was the first ever direct port. It was it's technically almost an emulation. But
how do the controls work out? Because they're terrible in the CPC version I played.
Exactly the same.
Ugh.
It's just slightly more sluggish. That's all. It's like up the jump.
Because you have to like hold down the shoot button and then press diagonal to do high jumps, I think it is.
Mm.
It's a very,
Unintuitive.
yeah.
It would have been better to sort of pull down and up or something. That would
Yeah.
have been better. Jumps. So like crouch and then.
I guess it would have been hard on an actual joystick.
Yeah, hitting down and up is actually probably pretty easy motion to do on a joystick.
Because you can't drop through ground in the arcade version.
Yeah, once you're on a ledge,
So-
you either have to drop off or actually wait, I think you can jump off. I'm trying to remember.
You can drop off, then you'd need a button to press, right?
Oh,
Down. Well, you could tap double down, really, couldn't you, for that?
Yeah.
Well, I do know that US Gold were pretty lazy at doing ports. It was done on the cheap as well, that version. They'd done it in quite a hurry and done it on the cheap.
actually, I
Yeah.
guess.
But then again, it was as bad as those versions were. It's infinitely better than the Master System port. I mean, that was awful.
See, I played the Master System port, and I'm not even sure it's the same game. It's just,
Yeah, it's just a tiny little characters and that. I mean, when you look at they did fantastic ports of things like Shadow Dance on the Master System because it almost looks like the arcade machine, but the Master System version of ESWAT is awful. It's like what you'd expect to be running on a farly inferior. Looks more like an NES version would be. You know, when you look at the NES version of Altered Beast or something.
yeah, like the sprite size, yeah, definitely could be easily NES. It's such a strange thing because I think it's more like Kung Fu with a gun because the enemies just sort of run in from the left or right, basically.
Oh yes, pretty relentless. They're spawning.
Yeah, but the bosses are reasonably well ported. It balances off, but
Didn't they cut one out in the Master System one?
I think there's no anchor guy.
He was probably the worst of the easiest of the first three bosses, so I'm not necessarily lamenting that.
Why is this guy with an anchor hanging out at a gas station?
Well, it was by the coastline, so I assume he just stole it off the dock, and he's probably just being drunken and disorderly, so they have to have you shoot him a bunch of times.
Maybe it's like some sort of Japanese interpretation of the Shell logo or something. But it looks a bit like an anchor.
I don't know if you can do this. It reminds me of the second boss. You can shoot the girl that's standing in front of him, and it just tells you not to shoot her. I don't think you can actually kill her.
Yeah, I think the game
No,
she just screams.
It's
You
like,
just lose health. You lose health as a penalty.
do you lose health? Huh.
I believe so.
Because it's just like, don't shoot the girl, don't shoot the girl. I'm like, oh, fine, whatever.
I believe in the Master System version, it's possible to jump behind him
Oh,
and then shoot him in the back, and he never turns around or anything. But he's very courteous even to put her on a chair as well. in some
yeah, he
versions.
ties her down in the chair.
Yeah, so at least she's comfortable when she gets shot in the head.
Well, it's hard to throw a boomerang if you're holding on to somebody, so at least
He actually reminds
theoretically-
me of the, I think from Streets of Rage 1 has the same boomerang
Yes, it
Yes, that's nice. It's nice to see they got cameos. Sega's got this sort of community thing, haven't they, when they reuse the same characters and that.
Well, the urban environments are a little bit similar. They're not the same graphically, but they do feel a little.
Well, it's always Japanese always think that America's either New York or Chicago or LA. There's only 3 cities in the US, and it's either one of them 3. But yeah,
Except for San Francisco, I think that shows up. Snarboo, the Lucky and Tango or whatever.
Oh lord, is it Tango?
Lucky and
Or-
Wild.
Lucky and Wild, yeah.
Lucky and Wild. I think that's sort of San Francisco-ish, isn't it? You go up a lot of slopes and down a lot of slopes.
Oh, are you thinking of San Francisco Rush?
I'm not thinking of San Francisco Rush, but that game is obviously set in San Francisco.
Oh, San Francisco Cisco Heat. That's it. I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay. The arcade versions, I don't know, it's not particularly interesting. Is there anything else you guys really want to cover other than it plays like Rolling Thunder but in a robot suit, sort of?
Well, I will say that the game looks very nice. Like it's what is it, an '89 release? It looks really great.
It
It's
is an
got good
89
sound,
release, yeah.
so
Yeah, I mean, it's a completely competent 89 release. I think that's the best that I could say about it.
When it is an arcade game, you don't really expect much depth in those sort of things. I mean, it's just there to take your money.
Yeah,
Even done the shitty thing of it. You can't put any more money on the final level. You have to start again from the beginning.
Yeah,
You
that's right. Ugh. You gotta trash a credit right at the end just to make sure you've got all your lives for the final level. I did find it funny that you show up in a police car in the robot suit. Like, is he driving in that?
I don't know. I guess maybe he's riding in the back.
You get pulled over, you know, when a stupid. It's 2 player as well, 2-player co-op. You play like a red robot ESWAT guy as well.
Yeah, that's the probably the main or only advantage it has over the Genesis game, I'd say. You get 2-player support.
And Shinobi, I'd say, because that was only single.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's 2 Shinobis. It's Shinobi, not Shinobis, right?
Or was it Shinobi?
Shinobi.
Shinobi. If anybody out there knows the plural for Shinobi, please let us know in the comments. We do like our grammatically correct videos.
But yeah, the final boss, like, did that feel like he came from a completely different game? Like, he was just like that was just his vacation time right there.
Maybe they're doing cameo things. It's actually Death Adder without his uniform. He couldn't get it through customs, you see.
Well, they probably stole his armor. I mean, didn't have gold inlay and stuff? Like, it was really fancy looking? I can't remember. Wait, no, it was very plain looking, wasn't it? It was like bronze or something.
I do recall that, I think at the final boss, you fight 2 of them before, and they're actually the second boss in the Mega Drive version.
That's correct. They get to show up in all the games. They really like those black samurai robots.
Where there's the jumpy one who jumps and crouches, and there's the one who just stands still, standing up, shooting.
Yeah, that jumpy one, he's the real pain in the ass.
Yeah, you don't even need to bother with the other one, you just crouch.
Yeah, you can actually just stand in between them and they won't even hit you. You just have to shoot the bullets down that the other guy fires.
But
maybe that's why he's employed as an ESWAT, because he can shoot bullets. I mean, that is some skill. But then again, if you're fighting on a 2D plane, that's pretty simple to do. Really. Fight all there.
Yeah, the whole thing is set on a 2D plane, although I think it has a fence in one of the levels.
That's in the second stage, isn't it?
Yeah.
The anchor guy stage.
Yeah, that's because Shinobi has fences as well. But they don't use fences when you're in the robot. You just are always on the 2 planes.
It was probably too hard or it was probably too unrealistic for them to animate him flipping around over the fence and over the railings and everything.
Also, he walks in a really weird way, doesn't he, when he's a cop? He sort of holds the gun sort of up to his chest, up to his face.
Yeah.
That's a really weird way to walk when you know there's a load of people out there shooting at you. There's no point pulling your profile together, because the people that already know you're there and they're shooting at you, you pull your gun at arm's length, getting ready to shoot.
Yeah, it looks like he's sliding across a wall with his gun like raised at his face, except he's standing in the middle of a street.
So no, that's the sort of profile you do if you're hiding behind a wall or something, really, isn't it? In cop shows, not walking down the road with that.
They must have just watched a bunch of cop shows and went, I guess this is how cops walk.
Yeah. But you surely can't even see anything with a gun against your face like that. No wonder why he wants out the system so soon.
Also, I think when he fires up in both games, he does a really weird pose. He just sort of sticks his arm up and then throws his other arm down and then twists his torso around. He's
sort of got I'm getting ready to throw a grenade pose.
Yeah, except he throws bullets.
Maybe he's trying to do like a thinner profile as possible, because that's the new thing in military, isn't it? It was to make yourself as thin as possible, as small as a target as possible when you're shooting. So you'd always shoot sideways. Yeah, but nowadays with all armor and that, you just shoot.
I like it in the first stage of the arcade game. It looks like you shoot kids, because there's the skateboarders, and I'm like, there's no one, there's not that many people over the age of 18 that would be rolling around on skateboards. And he just mercilessly guns down these people.
Well, that's the Hollywood influence, isn't it, on these Japanese game makers, isn't it? They sing these thugs, like warriors and that, going around with skateboards, stabbing people. I'm surprised everybody's not painted up with baseball bats and stuff like that.
So one thing that does bother me, I hate the ammo.
I don't see the point of having a number, really, because that's one of the worst things that you can have in a gun. I mean, it's all right when you've got special weapons, but if you stand go for your gun, I mean, when you run out of bullets on that, you're pretty much screwed. You have to kill yourself. Yeah, well, they give you like a punch and a kick, which is absolutely ridiculous when you're in the robot and you're chasing a truck around trying to kick it. That's one hard cop, isn't it?
I ran out of bullets, but you're still under arrest.
Yeah. Stand still while I kick the shit out of you. So. He's got he has got a really effeminate way of jumping as well. It's like he's skipping as well. I think all the people he's shot be able to pick up one of the weapons of a fallen enemy as well.
Yeah, there's
He's got pretty much half an army's arsenal at his feet, but no, he has to use his gun. Proper procedures.
it's a chain gun when you're the robot. It's so cool. Why would he use anything else?
But when he's a cop, maybe he's played too many police quest games or something. He has to play everything by the book or something.
You can't touch it. It's evidence.
Yes, it's everything.
So the stages are just elaborate crime scenes, is what you're telling me.
Well, he guns down like 50 people a stage.
That must be the weirdest crime scene, though, because it's just a straight line of corpses. Like, you're going down the street, it's like, okay, he shot that guy, and that guy, and that guy. I guess we just keep going north, guys.
And then it's great, because at the end, he arrests the boss.
You think there's an entire pile of corpses everywhere. Oh, well, I've got a woman. I've got a woman. I do like the fact they get arrested after being shot, so the boss is the only ones who don't die. After.
Yeah.
So you get a picture of them looking miserable behind some bars rather than in intensive care. Right.
Maybe they're cyborgs. Like, they don't explain why you're going after these specific guys, why they're so important. Like, a guy with a trash can that breathes fire, like...
It's a video game logic. They're bigger than everybody else, therefore they have to be the boss. So, and fat people take more bullets in games. So that's video game.
Actually, there's a lot of fat bosses in this, isn't there?
I think
It was the 80s. Every single boss was fat, wasn't it? I mean...
Yeah, most of the bosses are just as dumpy as you are, too. Is
that a criticism of the American culture? Are they calling everyone fat?
Maybe. If they really wanted to insult us, though, they just have us hooked up to an IV feeding, McDonald's or something.
So Bo power up his donuts. So.
Yeah, there's not a single donut in the whole game, right?
There's no health pickups in the arcade game at all.
Really?
Yeah.
None that I found. The only way to get more health is to die. That makes me wonder, though, if you die in this game, when you start over from your next life, is that actually another cop that's just identical to the last guy? Do they have this whole clone army of dumpy cops?
Well, maybe that's what ESWAT, like cyborg police. That's just got another one out. It's like Terminators.
He just flashes into the existence, just continues on where the last guy left off.
Yeah. You're not getting a car to go there. You have to flash into existence. And also, if they got a car, why don't they just drive straight to the boss instead of having to go for the entire army?
Well, on the boss, I love how the boss is just, they don't know who he is. Like, his portrait is, we don't know. He's a war criminal, maybe? Like, you're just sent to arrest a guy who they don't know who he is?
He's not really much of a war criminal if he kills a bit of a boomerang, really. I mean... That's like James Bond villain.
Because I thought, if the police were going to arrest someone, they should probably know who he is.
Well, I guess they assume you're waltzing into his secret lair that you'll probably stumble upon the guy, theoretically.
Find whoever looks like the boss and is the fattest and arrest them.
The tallest or fattest.
That's not a bad system of ranking, I guess, because it's very clear. You can tell who's in charge. Okay, so this is the fattest guy I've seen. Clearly, he must be the ruler of this underground crime syndicate.
Well, obviously, because he can take more bullets and everything. So everybody else dies in one hit, but he has to take 3 because he's fat. Speaking of cameos, I did hear that the car in ESWAT is also the same car in Streets of Rage when you call for the police.
I believe it is. I think it is.
I guess that means there's a few connections between Streets of Rage and ESWAT.
Maybe Streets of Rage is a prequel?
Well, Sega do throw away things like the chicken leg speed from Golden Axe has been in loads of other games.
Yeah, well, they've done quite a few games where they throw other games in other games.
Well, Alex Kidd's going to be one of the bosses or something.
He'll be 10 feet tall, though, which is not canon.
But he could be a cyborg with his giant fist. He's got a giant fist, so he could be like a cyborg.
So you're saying he'd be like that one boss from Turk, and he'd just be that big angry fist that tries to smash you.
Before he forces you to play rock paper scissors first as well. It'd be like that scene out of Indiana Jones with the guy with the sword. I'm not playing rock paper scissors. I'll just shoot you instead.
And he'd go down just as quick. Alex the Kid is made out of tissue paper.
He doesn't collect rings like Sonic. That's why he got fired.
So, for whatever reason, when Sega brought ESWAT to the Genesis, they decided to just completely remake the game. So it's very similar to Chernobyl, which we covered in a previous post-mortem in that respect. But it does actually, it shares a lot with the arcade game though, doesn't it? Like at least the first couple of levels.
Well, it's got a cop in it.
That's true. That is true.
Oh my
It has
God,
a cop in it, and he turns into a robot about like a couple levels in. So
Well, Sega had that thing for a while, didn't they? They always done a different adaptation of an arcade machine for the 16-bit port. I mean, like Shadow Dancer was a completely different game from the
they
arcade
did
machine.
the same thing with Alien Storm too. Like it had the same graphics, but there was like new levels. The levels were in a completely new order.
Yes. You start in the sticks, don't you? In the 16-bit version, but in the arcade version, you started in the city, and then you went out to the sticks.
It actually makes more sense in the Genesis version though, because it's like, why would an alien leave the city to go attack a bunch of like hillbillies or something?
I guess let's start with some differences on the Genesis, because apparently it's all of the entire game is different on the Mega Drive, basically.
Yes, completely. It's almost. Well, then again, the subtitle is City Under Siege, so it could be a sequel rather than a.
Yeah, it is kind of like a sequel-y reboot, since they do refine a lot of the elements of the game, like removing the ammo system.
Yes, but they also remove the armor system as well, that you don't sort of lose bits of it when you just fall to your knees. You know.
You do lose. I think it blows off a little bit, doesn't it, when you actually die?
Yeah, it like splits open and then explodes. That's a pretty big design flaw though, you'd think, because
Maybe it's like an eject system or something, but he's too busy being dead to get out.
yes, that's probably it. Probably got caught on something, and the afterburner just melted him.
That makes sense. That's a very anime sort of thing where once a robot is broken, it just opens. Yeah, I'm so glad this game was made in like the early 90s, or else it would have been just like 18-year-old anime kids in robot suits fighting crime.
Yeah, so the police force in desperation, so they're hiring children to kill the enemy. Now, the game, I think, if you look at the box art in the Japanese version, it's absolutely amazing. I absolutely loved it. It's a proper cyborg thing. It looks something similar to like a male version of something out of Bubblegum Crisis, really, the sort of design.
Yeah.
But it is a proper cyborg type thing. I mean, the box art to the Western version just has him cut in half, and it's like silver one side.
It's like they were ripping off Turrican or something. They did that with the Master System version too, because he looks like a really broke-ass version of Turrican.
Yes, he does. I always thought he was just like a buffed Robocop, really. Somebody got out there
too.
He looks like a cut-rate Megatron on the Western box for the Mega Drive game, I felt.
Yeah, no, it's they've made him a robot or a cyborg on the Western one, but he's still a guy in a suit in the Japanese box art.
Yeah, that initially confused me, because I'm like, did they actually make him a robot in the Genesis game? I don't think they do.
I think it's just a suit.
It's a bit of the old bad art Mega Man thing, you know, that they've told, you know, you're a cyborg robot suit cop in the future, and he's taken it literally rather than some guy in a robot suit. But I think that's how they've interpreted it.
The actual suit in the Mega Drive version is a full suit. You have armor across the whole
Ice
body.
suit. It's called Ice Suit.
Yes.
Or ICE.
I don't know what that's short for though, because I thought that was a hacking thing. But yeah, it's a proper. They've made it a bit more armory, and they made the cop less dumpy. He looks more like just a guy.
But then he just still crawls into the really dumpy robot suit.
He's actually got a name in the 16-bit version as well. He's called Duke Oda.
Yeah. Okay. That's both versions, like Japanese and English?
Yes, that's actually the name. That's the name in the American instruction manual. He's called Duke Oda.
Okay.
Very well-known American surname there, Oda.
Is there actually like much plot in the manual? I didn't read it. Because I mean, you're fighting an evil AI according to the end of the game.
A mysterious and high-tech organization named EYE, who quickly threatens to take over the entire city, and after being promoted at the end of the second level, Duke Oda is given armor called an Ice Combat Suit.
So yeah, he's almost not ESWAT, which should be called IceSWAT.
That's harder to say though. Plus it sounds like they'd be serving you really really cool drinks on the summer day.
Involuntarily, at 4 in the morning.
Ice doesn't stand for anything either. It just means ice, so I don't know what the Japanese interpretation of what ice is, because I just thought it was frozen water, personally, but obviously it's something to do with cybernetics.
Maybe it's the cool blue color of the suit. Yeah, that could work. Yeah, because you do have the jetpack, and that does that takes a while to like either cool down or heat up or whatever it is if you use it.
I mean, that's a pretty massive flame. I mean, he'd burn his legs off normally, wouldn't he? I mean,
That's the interesting thing, though. You can actually use the jets from the jetpack to actually burn enemies. It's really weird because
Can you?
Yeah, I noticed it purely by accident when I was trying to navigate one of the levels. Like I was just zooming around, and then somehow an enemy died next to me. I'm like, wait, what? So I just kept messing around, and it seems like the jet, if you aim it just the right way, can actually destroy obstacles or kill enemies.
I should note that the jet is an all-new feature in the Mega Drive version, and it's a really cool jet.
it's really cool, but it only lasts about 3 seconds. That's what annoyed me. I mean, you can hover indefinitely, but everything else, even you're constantly burning energy, and you have to stand still for it and charge it back up.
Yeah, that was the disappointment, was that the levels don't really make use of it, except for one specific level, which makes enormous use of it.
Oh, it's at that factory level, but it's got those sort of platforms that instantly recharge it as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the boss fight gives you unlimited jet, and I was like, oh man, awesome.
Yeah, that was probably the best stage in the game. It kind of shows off the strengths of this version of the game, like the changes they made, namely to the way the suit works, the secondary weapons, that sort of stuff.
It's a shame that they didn't utilize that for a whole level, because it'd be great to have a flying level, really, wouldn't it?
And they
yeah,
completely
they could have
do
done a
it.
schlub stage.
Because, I mean, if they're showing off how big the levels can be, because that level's huge.
Yes, it takes you a good 5-10 minutes to complete that one.
I guess they just really wanted to stick to the
Platforming.
walking around and, platforming.
Because even including a really boring sewer level, you just walk left and right. I
Yeah,
mean, that's more like,
oh god, that stage. That was just a bad stage.
that's more akin to the arcade thing as well, isn't it? You can
Yeah,
jump up and
yeah.
down and stuff.
Just go places. I was surprised because I got to the end of that level. I'm like, that's that whole level? What? They run out of
It is.
time?
It does seem a bit of a Friday afternoon job on that level.
And the boss on it's so bad as well. It just bounces
So
one
like-
way, bounces the other. Then
It's
that's
just an eyeball snake monster thing, isn't it? Or something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
and
like that whole stage is weird because first of all, why are they sending a guy in a robot suit into a sewer? Like, do they have an alligator problem or something? And
remember, it's a secret sewer.
oh right, it's the sewer
Terrorist
that's
organization.
a secret sewer. So it's like an illegal sewer system. Like they're actually dumping all their waste into that sewer, so they don't have to pay whatever tax it is they normally have to pay. That's clever. That's very clever.
Yeah, but it's devised by the Ninja Turtles. They couldn't be bothered to pay tax anymore, so they went underground. Built their own shanty sewer. Well built from an illegal sewer, though, as well.
It's got a lot of sophisticated rocketing equipment.
What are they even
And it's also
protecting in
got-
there?
A giant eye worm.
Yeah.
You
Like
fight
they're
blue
building their
monsters in that stage, actually. And they're the worst enemies in the game because if they grab you, they just drain your health, and then
You
they
gotta mash
fall off.
left and right. Just keep mashing left and right. You'll throw them off.
Isn't it weird in video games that the people that do most damage are the ones that cuddle you? Really? So,
It's,
everybody
it's just the
else.
fear of public displays of affection. So it's like, no, I don't love you, bile monster. No.
Although it kind of makes sense with the ESWAT suit because it could, like, get into the cracks and stuff. I could see that being an actual problem.
Or just
It would be
suffocates you.
real getting poo in the cracks. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine coming back from that? What do you mean? You stink. You're covered in shit.
He's walking through a sewer.
Well, that's why he's called Duke.
Oh god. Okay, I would bet you in that stage, like the health system is actually like your dignity meter. So the things that are like annoy you or like humiliate you the most do the most damage.
With that stage, I'm just thinking, do you actually have a target in that stage, or you just show up?
It's
Just walk from left to right, really, isn't it?
yeah.
Like, because I mean,
Kill the giant snake.
the stages before that, you're given like a guy to kill. You told go kill the guy in the robot suit, go kill the scientist. For that stage, do you have a target, or is it just
it's the
go
giant
there?
snake. It's
Is
the
the-
snake monster.
are you sent there to arrest that snake?
Probably. It probably broke out of like a computer system or something. It was sick of just like growing slightly larger every time it ate an apple.
But I actually think it's really cool that almost every stage in that game is completely different.
Yeah, they really mix up the tile set. Like they hardly recycle anything. I think maybe in the very
Oh.
final 2 stages they do. Because I
suppose,
think
sorry, one more thing about the sewer level. It's a good job that he's got some sort of breathing equipment. Can you imagine throwing up in that suit?
oh,
Sorry, I'm just being vulgar there, but yeah. No, it's a giant sort of robot snake thing with drills on each end and an eyeball.
It's the only I guess there's the bio level, but that's such a weird enemy because all the others are just people.
I don't think it actually in the game itself. You don't. Do you have a target for? No. Yeah, you do fight. You just go for cyborgs. You just go for each robot. You're fighting robots in each level. You target. It's not like a human. I think it's only like the first 2 levels as a cyborg that you actually fight humans. The rest of them are robots.
I thought the scientist was a human.
He had a giant machine though, and I can't remember if the target was the machine or the doctor.
That's a great stage too.
It's one of those ones that you sort of. It's all about timing. It's like a proper platformy level, isn't it? Rather.
Yeah, they disabled the burner for that level, but I'll forgive them because it works.
You could hover still. But
Can you still hover? Oh, okay.
I didn't know that. I just assumed no burner meant absolutely nothing.
Kind of interesting because the burning system works where you can move around in it when you've got red, but you can only hover when you've got yellow.
My brain is just completely blank all of a sudden.
You had to bring up the yellow, didn't you?
I like the yellow.
The yellow bar of perpetual hovering. I don't know.
The game sort of falls apart a little bit towards the end. Like the second last level's just really strange.
I love that stage though. That is my favorite stage besides maybe the goo factory stage because get this. Okay, so it starts off like a normal
goo factory.
Yes, goo factory, the poo factory.
It's like, is it the Nickelodeon?
Yeah. That's where they get all the slime from. There's been a breakout.
It's been taken over by Mad Professor.
Oh, but in the next to last stage, stage 7, there's these 2 really weird bits that are right close to each other. Like there's this one bit where you fall down this vertical shaft, and then there's this really weird Tetris segment where like you shoot these 2 blocks, they fall down, and they complete like a couple lines, and then those lines disappear.
Yeah.
Right after that, there's like the world's most evil Newton's cradle just keeps bouncing back and forth. I think that kills you almost instantly if it touches you too. It's like,
well, the way it works is the game actually has, and we've talked about this game a bunch, but it has Turrican health.
It does sort of, yeah.
If you accidentally hover over that cradle, you die. That stage has one of the things that I hate about this game. I don't hate too much about it, but it has a cheap trick in it which bothers me.
It's the teleporter, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that's a Sega trope, isn't it? That this last level always has a teleporting level or some sort of pneumatic pushing around thing or something that pushes around all over the level.
It's the teleporter that you go through and then it dumps you earlier in the level.
And there's a second teleporter that you're actually supposed to take.
Yeah, just above it. The second stage is something like that too, where you can accidentally drop down through a hole and have to replay the whole level.
Well, I think that's a pretty normal trope for games back then, that they always had a sort of maze level towards the end as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I don't actually mind the level. I said it falls apart, but I just meant, like, kind of aesthetically, it's a very strange stage, because it's just got boxes and, like...
Well, they're probably running out of ideas by then. I mean, there's only so much you can do fighting robots, really, isn't there? And they're already fallen on the bloody sewer level part as well. I mean, that's you know what, really crutching at stores and do a level on snow about sewers. Just like, let's say you do a ice level next as well. I mean,
that would have been cool. Would have liked an ice level. You could have an ice suit in the ice level.
Yeah, you'd have to keep using the burner to sort of burn off the freezing, so you couldn't move anymore or something.
Yeah.
A bit like Rocket Knight, the new one.
Oh, I didn't know how to like that because I didn't play much of it because I wasn't.
Oh, okay. There's a level that's like ice level, and you have to keep going towards these bonfires to stop to melt the ice off your rocket pack to be able to use it.
I remember that. That was one of the few good bits of that game.
That doesn't make any sense. Wouldn't the rocket pack heat up? All right.
I don't know.
I mean, it sounds like a fun level, so that's pretty good. The music in ESWAT is great.
Yeah, the Genesis version has great music.
Yeah, I was like, as I heard the boss music, I'm like, man, this is really great boss music. And then
the final boss theme, which is like a more metal version of that.
Yeah, it's got that, and the end credits theme is really cool. There's some really cool music in it. It's 90s, so there wasn't that much great music on the Mega Drive when it came out, I don't think. You had, like, Golden Axe has pretty good music. I don't think Streets of Rage was out yet, was it?
Was that 91? I forget.
No, that's another couple of years. I mean, it was after Sonic, wasn't it?
It was around that time, yeah.
I thought Streets of Rage 1 was 91.
91 for the Genesis.
I will say my memory of ESWAT on the Mega Drive is it's actually the first game I ever bought for the system. That and New Zealand story.
Well, ESWAT's definitely a good game to have. I would say that.
Well, it's a great game for an early game, isn't it? For an early game in the system's life.
I would say that it's kind of funny because like the first couple of levels don't really show off the features it has because Like, by the time you get to, like, the Robot Factory, it's a really impressive game. Like, you genuinely could have built a whole game out of the Robot Factory. It would have been, like, a really amazing 16-bit game.
Well, it's getting more like a serious version of Mega Man, really, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of
power-ups you get.
One thing is, aesthetically, it's got a cool Sega look to it, but it definitely doesn't use the system's power very much.
Well, it was an early game, wasn't it? It was made in 1990. I believe. Was it 1990?
Yeah,
the machine come out at the end of '88, so it's like they've only had a best part of a year to know how to program it. So
it's interesting because if you have a look, the game doesn't have any parallax except the sewer level.
It does actually have
And
parallax in, what is it, Neo 3 Mile, but it's like really weird, like they did it backwards, so it looks like it's actually floating above the stage or something.
In the sewer level, the actual sewer water has like 3 or 4 layers of parallax to look like water.
Well, they love doing that sort of wobbly thing, don't they? The sewer where it slides back and forth.
Yeah, that's what it does, I think.
Well, it's probably got so many parallax because it is a simple left to right level as well, really.
Yeah.
They could go for more graphically impressive stuff because there's also things like boxes floating past as well, so they all add to the
that's right. There's boxes.
Yeah, there's garbage in the water.
And there's also like light coming out the sewer holes. There's light coming down from the sewer holes,
and you can close them by shooting them.
Yeah, that's actually a security system. That's actually what causes the rocket launchers to pop out.
Oh, okay. There's me
does.
thinking some sort of aesthetic impressiveness there. It's a security system.
They have a couple of things like
be
that.
manhole covers. I don't know. It's weird.
In the second last stage, there's also the lasers that pick you up and then the guns shoot at you.
Yeah, there was that little elevator bit.
That's the thing. Everything in this game really is like every stage has unique stuff. Every single stage, I think.
It's a shame that they put all the good stuff towards the end then, really, because it's just a generic like shoot 'em up really at the beginning, really. I mean, there's nothing.
Yeah.
Apart from that second level when you're a cop, first time I ever played it, I got lost for ages because you're playing in a prison, but you're on this sort of elevator thing, aren't you? Going round, sort of travelator thing, isn't it? Going around all over the place trying to get into the sewer, and, into the prison, and then you have to make your way down.
Yeah, when I played that, I got confused because I didn't realize the elevator could go up for a little while, so I was just like, oh crap, I have no idea what to do.
It's one of those. Well, Sega always done that, didn't they? It's like a one-off mechanic in the entire game, and they never tell you how to use it. I mean, they've done with Sonic 3 of them drums you stand on.
Yeah, the Carnival Night Barrel, everyone's worst nightmare.
So yes, Sega's they make good games, but sometimes they're very unintuitive and these like one-off mechanics they had. Well, I didn't know you had to jump behind in the first one because you don't really do the jump behind mechanic in the first level, do you?
No, and I don't think you do it past the second level either. You can.
You don't
Yeah.
really.
It's just there. Great. Well done.
So another one-off mechanic they do.
Yeah.
You'd think they'd include that because that was one of the big mainstays of the arcade version as well. I mean, the last boss is Guile wearing M. Bison's uniform. Really. Well, he's basically you're fighting yourself. It's a red version of you, but when he blows up, he's like twice the size of the suit he was in. So he's like some sort of TARDIS cyborg M. Bison.
And when the suit blows up, it actually can kill you.
Yeah, he does the burner attack on you.
It
all
killed
you need
me.
to get away from that. All you need to do is just get off the screen to avoid it.
Yeah, I think because it triggers the moment you kill him, though, so you have to sort of kill him from a distance. I like that once you kill him, it actually goes in like a full in-game cutscene, which was really nice. His armor blows up, and then I think your armor blows up, and then you shoot him, then he shoots at you, then you shoot at him, then he turns into a robot, and then he dies. So it was a robot inside of a man, inside of a robot suit. That was the end boss.
It's like the Russian doll of evil.
So is there a tinier man inside of that other robot then, or that there's a tinier robot inside of him?
It's like a Men in Black sort of alien inside.
And the most ridiculous part about it is that robot was building your robot suits to take over the world.
So we have to destroy them for copyright infringement.
They were violating the patent agreement or something.
So you find out the government found it's just a lot cheaper to murder them than it is to take to court. Really.
And the great part is, if you watch the credits, which has cool music, there's like a bunch of other characters in the credits that just don't appear in the game, because you get like this like group shot and it's got your character standing there, and then there's some other guy in the background also in an ice suit, and then there's like this fat cop and a girl. It's like a cast shot of like the game, but
yeah, look at me, we're not in the game at all.
Who are these people?
I bet you the fat guy's the guy who says mission completed when you beat a stage.
I just thought it was a cameo from Hagar. He's got that big moustache. Maybe it's like those stereotypical police chiefs and that they shout at you when you go, "Oh, the damage you've done! You're loose cannon, get out of here!" So,
It does seem like that's the kind of guy that he was intended to be. I wonder if there was going to be a two-player mode. I don't know.
well,
But
it seems a bit odd that you'd have two characters there wearing the same uniform. Maybe is there an alternate two-player mode that you take turns like Mario Brothers?
No, there isn't even a hot seat mode.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything, which is a little bit of a shame, but with the way the burner works, I can understand why. Because that would have been a little tougher, I think, to balance.
Well, I think it's because it's 8-way scrolling as well. It would have been quite more confusing because there's lots of up and downy platformy bits, and that's always hard in a two-player thing where two players have to be on the screen at the same time.
Yeah, that would have made the Robot Factory very difficult.
Because you'd be pushing somebody off the screen, it would be swearing and anger. I'm surprised they never made a sequel.
Yeah, Sega, I believe, I don't know if I've said this before, but I believe Sega hate money. Because
Nostalgia? What the f*** is that?
they're like...
You get some shitty ass bloody straight to bloody Sega thing like Golden Axe Dragon Rider with his Beast Warrior, Beast Rider. Some half-assed wing thing we found from some Eastern European developer who works like $10 or something. So we'll probably get some really crappy Xbox Live version or something that somebody's...
Yeah,
Actually, there was one in development. Backbone, I think, was trying to shop it to Sega, and they're like, no.
I think, yeah, there was talks of that. Backbone do their arcade ports, I think. Or their ports.
They do a lot of emulation stuff, don't they? Backbone.
That was... Because ESWAT isn't a compilation, the Sega Mega Drive collection or whatever, on the Xbox 360 and PS3.
Well, it is a shame they never bothered with it, because it's a great premise, really. Especially nowadays, when everything's just gritty modern shooters and that. I mean, it'd be quite nice to play as a cop for once.
Well, I think that Vanquish is a hell of a lot like ESWAT in terms of controls when you get down to it. Because you've got like the whole burner system, which makes it feel like an updated. Because you jet around all over the place. Oh, that was actually published by Sega.
It was, what's his name? People who'd done Bayonetta, wasn't it?
Yeah, Platinum, I think.
Yeah.
But I'm surprised because Sega have a huge back catalogue of games that are vaguely recognizable.
ESWAT's not even appeared in sort of the Sonic All-Star Racing games either, or tennis.
You'd think that they could just throw him in as like, you could just put him in a car. He's got a car. You're done.
He doesn't even need a car. He could just like fly with his burners and that. Like, I do know during the end of the 16-bit generation that Sega of America only wanted Western-produced games for the system. They didn't want to touch anything from Japan for some reason. Then again, they did have a bit of a tiff with them, didn't they?
They weren't happy when Sega was like, no, we're going to make the Saturn.
So yeah, the last few years of Sega 16-bit games are all Western produced, really. Well, that come out over here. I mean, we missed out on other things, didn't we? Like that one the Game Freak made, that game.
Pulseman?
Pulseman, yes. So yeah, because
I think a couple snuck out. I think, didn't Ristar get out of Japan, I think?
It did, yes.
It did, but that was Sega going, you must release this, really, wasn't it? I mean, I saw, we haven't got Sonic 4 in development, we just bring this out. So, but yeah, no, it was heavily focused on Western-produced games towards the end. I mean, things like Comic Zone and The Blob. Was it The Blob?
The Ooze, which is actually
that's it, yeah.
the previous post-mortem, if anyone wants to watch that.
Ooh.
But yeah, the Ooze is really cool. It's just kind of broken as hell.
But I do think they could have put one more ESWAT game out there.
The American teams could have easily made an ESWAT game too. It's like
all it is just robots fighting robots. I mean, they could have just done a sprite swap thing for something like Cyborg Justice or something. Really, and made a beat 'em up ESWAT game or something.
Yeah, they could have made it easier too. Cyborg Justice is physically impossible. I contest.
That was a birthday present. That was a birthday treat to Toys R Us. What game do you want, Larry? Oh, that one with robots on it. You fucking idiot, Larry. No, Sega did do quite a few innovative things that nobody ever rips off, really, like Dick Tracy. Sort of, you had like Cabal and sort of a standard shoot 'em up in the front, didn't you, really?
That one's a lot like Shinobi or Rolling Thunder 2, and then they just added the extra layer on top of it with the Tommy gun.
I'm disappointed that games don't rip off arcade games enough anymore, because there's so many subgenres, really, that aren't touched upon. There's oodles of games that are like Rolling Thunder, which is the Seed game from 1986. Just for some reference, there's Crime City, Surprise Attack.
Oh, that's the spin-off of Chase HQ, isn't it, Crime City?
Yeah, I think it's the same guys. It's got the best opening cutscene, because it's basically, hey, there's crime, let's go kill people. Like, that's the cops. Yeah, and it's like, there's quite a few games that did this, and then they just sort of, like, Rolling Thunder 3 was 93 or something, and then I don't think there was really any like it afterwards.
There was Codename Viper with the NES. That's quite similar to Rolling Thunder.
Yeah, there's a few in there. I don't know many NES
and
games.
those what's it called? The Golgo 13 games on the NES feel a little bit like that.
Yeah, they do a little bit.
It's interesting because there's like realistic side-scrolling shooters, I guess, in a way. Like, they're not really... They have platform elements, but they also sort of combined just sort of walking around and shooting in a more realistic fashion until you jump 10 feet in the air vertically.
And jump over a veranda to be able to land the boss. Also, you get to jump jump down 10 feet and not risk breaking your ankles.
The thing that stands out about Rolling Thunder games to me is that they're kind of like the prototype for modern cover shooters. There's a lot of cover that you or there's a lot of cover taking on those games. It's very strange.
Yeah, it's a lot of focus on ducking or jumping or like just avoiding bullets by avoiding them by jumping to different areas. Or
there's an Namco game. They made Time Crisis later on. That was the main mechanic.
Yeah, and Time Crisis is probably what inspired a lot of cover-based shooting because it is a cover-based shooter basically.
Action!
I really like Time Crisis.
I do. The first time I didn't know it had reload. You know, what's it called? Recoil on a gun. The first time I ever played it in the arcade. So I used to put it right up to my face and like virtual cop and ended up giving myself a black eye. So.
Oh man, because I know that was a real recoil gun. That thing.
It was a real kick to it.
I think
I said, I put it right to my eye and gave myself a black eye. So.
I think they toned them down from that because that thing was just like. When I was a kid, my arm got sore from playing that game. It's just...
Yeah, your palm does go numb after a while, doesn't it? So.
At last, peace has been returned to Cyber City. So all that's left now is to tally up the body count. We'll grade the Mega Drive version since I'm pretty sure the arcade version is only for the hardcorest of enthusiasts. With that said, if the year was 1990, would ESWAT have touched your hearts? And what about that far-flung future that is today? How would it fare?
1990... was sort of the beginning of the strong season for the Mega Drive, but I think ESWAT sort of came out before a lot of the better games on the system. So I'm pretty sure if you had the Mega Drive in 1990, this would have been a superb game to have. It was just great, different levels, lots of interesting stuff happening, and it had some cool features that were a little bit harder to find in the previous generation of consoles. Pretty sure for 1990, I give it a 9 out of 10. Yeah, I'd give it a 9.
Yes, I would agree with that. Like I said, I got my Mega Drive when the UK one first came out, which was October 1990, and pretty much you didn't have much choice of games. If you wanted like a platformer, it was either Alex Kidd or ESWAT, so you didn't get much choice. Or that what's that jewel thing, that psychic jewel thing, whatever it's called.
Is that Mystic Defender?
Mystic Defender, that's it, yes. So it's either that or that EA game. What's that EA game with the giant sprites? That was absolutely terrible.
Oh lord, Sword of Sodan.
Sword of Sodan, yes. So you had a choice of that.
That game was terrible.
So these are all launch titles in the UK. So ESWAT was like, you know, it was like the Ocarina of Time out of compared to the rest of them. And that. So I got that. It's just a fantastic game. I just love it. I mean. I mean, I don't know if it's more nostalgia for me because it was the first game I owned, and every time I bought a new game and I was disappointed, I'd always go back to ESWAT. I could complete it over and over. Japanese version is actually harder because there's no continues on it as well.
Oh, really?
Oh, geez.
Yes, they took out the continue mode of the Japanese one. So,
hell.
so I did play. So every time I played that, so I got really, really good at it. So that's one of the games. So I would definitely give it 9 out of 10. I mean, even today. They keep bringing out these sort of Mega Drive Genesis on a chip things, don't they? Like the Blaze things and those little handheld things. And ESWAT's always one of the games in the collection. And it's the first game I always go. It's like that or Alex Kidd in Enchanted Castle. So it's either that, one of them two. And I always play ESWAT because it is a quintessential, stereotypical early 90s Sega game, really. 2D platform. It was them pre-Sonic. at their best, really. So I will give it 9 out of 10 too.
Yeah, I
Give
have
that a
to
rush.
agree. Like, you pretty much hit the nail on the head with everything this game did right at the time. I'm trying to remember if the Strider port was out at this point, though. That might have been one of the only other
no.
games.
That was a couple of more months.
Yeah. So, yeah, this was probably the pick of the litter, really. I mean, I can't think of many other early launch Genesis games that could have stood up to this game. Like, it feels like it could have come out much later, like 91 or even 92. That's how good this game is. It stands...
It's definitely aged really well.
Yeah.
Aged really well.
And you compare it to other systems at the time, notably the NES, and I forget if they... Yeah, I think the Super Nintendo came out in 90...
Super Nintendo had just come out, so I think it was... I mean, it was definitely out in Japan.
Yeah.
So...
We didn't get it till 92.
Yeah.
Yeah, so again, compared to the Master System, the NES, those sort of systems, like, this blows everything else out of the water, pretty much.
As it goes for sort of, if you were to release it now, like, because as mentioned, it shows up in port compilations and stuff, and chipsets, I don't think it's really much weaker. I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10, because it's still a fantastic and tight experience. The first couple of stages are a little weak, but the rest of the game makes up for it.
And it's also the right difficulty as well. It's not too hard and not too
Yeah.
easy.
Like, even though you only get 5 lives in the Japanese version, I can understand you could finish it with that, because if you play the game properly, you don't lose that many lives.
No, and also if you do lose lives, it is your fault as well. There's nothing wrong with the game mechanics that could cause you to glitch.
Except for those ninjas. Ninjas.
Well, that's ninjas in general. It's that with tight latex and that jumping about. They're always the ones that screw you about. Video games.
They don't show up much, but when they do, they get your health.
8 out of 10. I mean, it stands up. I mean, I was just playing through this game last night to prepare for this, and I'm just blown away by how tight it is. Like, how great the stages are, how well they explore the mechanics in the game, like how balanced it is. It's an extremely fair game.
I think the graphics go down quality a little bit because it's all bloody sort of setting sort of warehouses towards the end, and they're not very graphically pleasing to the eye, really, are they, compared to like the cities and the sewer levels and the big 3 Mile Island and the big sunset and stuff like that. So doing the final few levels in a warehouse is a little bit boring.
Yeah, that's the thing. There's a bunch of like industrial factory / warehouse stages. Like the last set of stages is pretty much just that. I think it's broken up by the sewer level, but that's probably its biggest weakness in terms of graphics, is just there's a lot of sameness throughout the stages.
Yeah, there's no organic stage unless you count the bio lab goop. Cause
There's no city stages either, are there?
Well, the first stage I think is the rooftops.
Yeah,
so.
it's technically a city.
Oh yeah, there's that sort of night purpley thing with the
Yeah,
and the weird platform thing that you can't jump. It doesn't move until you jump on until you walk on a specific location that he wants you to, and it starts to fall. But who the hell builds a helicopter with legs as well?
Yeah, I didn't notice it had legs until I played it. I was like, wait, that thing has legs? What the hell? So, Larry, was that an 8 out of 10 for you, or was it going to be a 7?
I'm going to keep it a 9.
You're going to keep it a 9. That's fair enough. It's still a strong game. And that means that I would super recommend it to anyone who likes platformers that are somewhat. There's a little bit of memorization in it, like it's not too freeform, but I don't think that's a bad thing, because
it's definitely one of those old school games where the more you play it, the better you get at it. You'll get a little bit further every time, and that's how a proper game works. Really, there's no luck involved. It is skill all the way. And also, if you're a collector, try and get hold of the Japanese version, because the box art is amazing.
But don't play it. Play the English one.
Well, it's all completely in English, the game.
Oh,
So
you don't get the continues, which will make it.
Well, I don't know if you play it. If you play it, I don't know if it's one of those weird region lock things as well. If you play it on a Western machine, that you get continues then. I'm not quite sure. But yeah, you don't get continues on the Japanese version. But like I say, get the Japanese version just for the box art alone, because it's absolutely amazing. It's like I love the Mega Drive box art from Japan.
Or don't buy it and don't drive up the price. Please don't drive up the price.
We'll get the Angry Video Game to review it, and they'll increase it like $300 now for the copy.
So I'm just, Larry is obviously going to recommend this like 10,000%. Snarboo, you'd recommend it, I assume.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's an underlooked classic, really. I mean, everybody else. I think nobody cares about the Mega Drive before Sonic, really. I I mean, Mickey Mouse, really, and that's about it, really.
That's
Like
the thing.
before-
Like, yeah, it's definitely like Sonic was like, "Hey, buy a Mega Drive," and that's when everyone bought the Mega Drive.
So yeah, and everybody buys the games afterwards. So, but yeah, it definitely was an early title. It's actually great. And also, if anybody from Sega's listened to this, please make a sequel.
Yeah, definitely make a sequel. You'll get 3 sales.
Yes, you'll get through.
For those of you who are thinking about picking up the game, you may actually own it already, though, because you could have accidentally bought it at some point.
Yes, it's pretty much a staple of every single Genesis on a chip device. Like if you've got one of those handheld Genesis devices or something, or things like that. And also if you've got the Sonic Genesis collection or any of the PS2 game Genesis collections, they're all on there. It's always on.
It's like, see, it's hidden in a few of them.
Yeah, it's just the default win. And I think you can get it on Virtual Console as well. No, we can't anymore because they closed down the servers the other day, didn't they? So you can't get it on Virtual Console.
But you could probably pirate it on Virtual Console.
Yeah, you could do, yes.
You know, if you want to go super roundabout rather than just use an emulator. But who knows? Maybe the Wii is your go-to emulation system.
It should be noted, too, that this is actually on Steam as well, both as a separate purchase and as part of a much larger pack. It's only $3.
And you can buy it on Live as well.
Yes. So you
They'll
can
deliver it straight to your computer.
And that brings us to the end of this case. I'd like to offer a hefty thank you to our guest Larry. May his enemies die quickly and in great number.
Death to you all.
We'd ask you to subscribe and like, but if you've gotten this far and you haven't done that already, what are you even doing with your life? Lately we've done too many popular games. Next time we're looking at a rebellion so deep you're almost certain to have never heard of it. It's from 1997, and that's your only hint. Good luck, and we'll see you then.
To begin arguably their most prolific time.
Prolific.
Prolific.
Oh,
Prolific.
I wrote prolific. I see it here.
Prolific.
Prolific. I can't even read. Okay.
What does that mean? What is a prolific?
Prolific. I guess it's someone who likes Philix.
It's a professional Philip.
I'm going prolific, Dad.